Alright guys, it's time to get real about the Wheel of Time trailer. The hype is sort of like gone down a little bit. We've done our deep dive analysis, we've done like our top 5 moments and stuff like that. The community is still talking about it, buzzing about it. We got some new casting news and stuff like that, so we're able to move on from a little bit of the hype of the trailer, but there was so much that the trailer had to offer and showed us. And it's time to get real about it, try to give some like pretty decent criticism, I think, and just like more get you guys' thoughts on what you thought of the trailer and what we should be expecting now that it's already out. We're still going to be doing more lore videos, character videos. I'm going to milk this thing as long as possible. I basically just want to do like once a week TV talk, like trailer talk, whatever. So we're going to be doing those, but I just finished The Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. So if we got any like Stormlight Archive fans out there, you let me know. I would love to talk about it. I just don't know if it'd be worth my time because if nobody watches it on the channel, then why would I make it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know your critiques or whatever about the trailer. I would love to talk about them in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. Now let's get into the video. This is going to make up the bulk of the video, but it's going to be like my main thoughts on how much they have diverted from the books. So we haven't gotten the show yet, so we don't actually know like how far it'll be or how different it'll be from the books. But from the trailer, we can already speculate by seeing Logain, by seeing Nynaeve with Lan and Moraine. Like that does happen in the books, but now the events are a little bit different. We have Logain being captured and stuff like that. So we can obviously tell things are going to be super different. That Egwene and Rand's relationship has been aged up, and that's going to be a little bit different. There was rumors that Perrin is going to be married, and that in the show his wife is going to die in Winter Night. I don't know if that was like made false or not, but that was a rumor that was happening for a while. So you know that's another thing to think about. We also got an update from Rafe saying that like some characters aren't going to be introduced in the same way they're the books, and it's because he didn't, which makes sense, but he doesn't want characters to be introduced and then seasons go by where we don't see them, you know. So he's like, I'm going to introduce them later on into this like series so they can have more screen time and all that, and it makes more sense, which I get. So I'm going to go back and say that Elaine is not going to be in the first season. That casting that we saw recently might be her. We've gotten some multiple leaked casting and stuff like that. So it'll be really interesting that, you know, probably season 1 is mainly going to focus on Moraine and Lan, and probably Logain. He's going to be amped up a lot and very different from the books probably. We also get the Emmonsfield 5, and that's the main probably cast we're going to be focusing on. That main Emmonsfield 5, Lan, Moraine, and Logain, and probably in the show they're going to be saying Logain is the Dragon Reborn, or making us think that he is, which I think will be very interesting. So my video before of how I think the first season is going to go, completely throw it out the window. Not going to be correct at all. I did a more faithful adaptation of how I would do it, but I'm not a showrunner, so I don't really know. I studied to be one, but I'm not a showrunner, so I don't really know. So I'm very interested in how they're going to do that and how tasteful it's all going to be. So yeah, maybe I'll make another video that's going to be talking about how I think the episodes are going to go now. I know for sure episode 3, when it says Dragon Reborn, that's that whole stuff that we get with Logain, like without a doubt in my mind anymore. So maybe I'll do an updated like how I think the episodes will go, and then so there's supposed to be Comic-Con in October 8th, I think, something like that, and actually Rafe and the main cast is going to have a panel on there. So I think that's when they're going to have the second trailer release. So maybe and then I'll have another video of like, okay, here's how I think the specific each episode is going to go, because that trailer is supposed to be even longer than the trailer we just got. Anyway, going off on a tangent. So I think of it in this way. I was just talking with my uncle about you know, the adaptation and seeing the trailer and how different it was, and how he's a little bit disappointed because he's like, what made Lord of the Rings, you know, when you think of great fantasy adaptations, you think of Lord of the Rings. And he's like, Lord of the Rings, what made it great is it was very faithful to the adaptation. Or it was very faithful to the books. And I was like, no, not really. Like, there are entire events, sequences, character arcs that are just like completely different, but they work better for the film, you know? A lot of the core of the story and all that was true to it. I think they added some things as well that made it really awesome, but they got rid of a lot of stuff, and they changed certain events around and changed a line to another person. And I was talking to my other uncle, he was in the discussion, and he was like, I don't get why in these adaptations they have one character saying a line but in the books, but they change it when it comes to the adaptation. Like, why would you do something like that? And they didn't really think about it much, but it was like, it probably goes into their character arc and it makes more sense for that character to say this. And I was like, but if if you guys are getting upset about, you know, like a character saying a different line, I have a feeling that this Wheel of Time adaptation might not be exactly what you would want. But yeah, that leads me into my next part of, so Lord of the Rings, it was pretty faithful. Not as faithful as the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. And actually, Brandon has come out and said this, that the first few seasons of Game of Thrones are like super to the books. They are very close to the books, and Lord of the Rings deviates a little bit. And Brandon said that the Wheel of Time show is going to go more of the Lord of the Rings route, where it's a little bit different from the books. I actually think it's going to be more, just from seeing. Obviously I'm not a producer. I'm not Brandon. I don't know what's going on. But I think that was him like trying to soften the blow, because he also agrees with the turning of the wheel, which is a phrase that I've been having a problem with. I don't really like that one too much. It's an excuse to deviate a lot from the books, and yeah, that's what this whole discussion is about, is it okay to deviate from the book? So here's my second part of that argument. So yes, Lord of the Rings is pretty true. It's not completely true like Game of Thrones was for its first few seasons, but it's a masterpiece when you think of fantasy adaptation. But the second one is The Hobbit, and that is just notorious for not being close to the events that happen in the book, but about every event that happens in the book happens in the movies. Now, I want to go out and say I love The Hobbit. I love the Hobbit movies. And my reason being is because of how much they added to the source material. They added so much to that source material that it became its own sort of thing, and just expanded on the dwarves, expanded on certain events, certain characters like Legolas and Gandalf and stuff like that. And I think it made the movies a lot more interesting. I thought it was awesome. Like, it definitely could have been done in like one movie, maybe two, if you try to like stretch it out a little bit extra, but it would have been like a beat for beat for the books. But what they did is they added so much stuff. Now, some fans like this and some fans did not. I was one of those fans that was like, well, I didn't read The Hobbit in, like 1960, and the book came out even before that, and like, you wanted a real true thing. If you wanted a true one, you can go see the animated, and that's a trip on its own. I love watching those while we play games. Oh my gosh, those animated movies are just awful, but they're so much fun to laugh at and watch. Usually when I'm playing Catan, like, we'll turn on the animated Lord of the Rings movies in the background. It's a blast. It's a fun time. I'm sure you can make a good drinking game out of it, and there probably is. Anyway, reading the books in this current age of sort of fantasy, it's still a great read. I think so. But a beat for beat adaptation for film, it's not all that entertaining. And you got to add a little bit of extra stuff. This is really controversial. Maybe I don't want to get into this. I think the studio that did The Hobbit wanted 3 movies like Lord of the Rings. For anybody who isn't as tasteful as Peter Jackson and his writing team, they would have messed it up really bad. But I think what they did was they're like, okay, well, we have a lot more room to expand the world, expand what's going on, and make it pretty entertaining. Now, there's some parts that is still like, okay, that this is a little too much, and every film, every adaptation is going to have its flaws in the same way the books have their flaws. Anyway, getting back to my point, I think that the Wheel of Time TV show is going to have changes along the lines of The Hobbit. It's going to go that step further from Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit when it comes to changes. And people are thinking, why would they do that? Why is Rafe saying, because he said a lot of times that, he's trying to be as faithful as he can. He's doing all this research to make sure that he gets Robert Jordan's vision right. He's putting all this time and effort. So like, why would it... Also, it's like contradictory of when he's like, certain characters are going to be introduced at certain different times, like I mentioned earlier, and things are going to have to be changed for television. But why are you going to be so concentrated on being so faithful, but then at the same time change it a lot? It finally snapped for me that he is doing all of that extra work, so when the changes do come, that the fans won't be too upset because a lot of the details are right, if that makes sense. I think he's doing all that he can because he knows how much it's going to kind of like change and deviate. But all of the details, all of the character arcs, the heart of the story is still going to be the same. And he's really working on building that world that Robert Jordan built, and really staying true as possible and making sure a lot of the heart of the story is still the same. So when the changes do come that he does have plans, fans won't be that upset or when it happens because he wants to have the heart of the story still there. I have confidence that the team will do a really good job. Are we just ready as a fan base for the changes they'll make? I'll be ready for the changes they'll make if they stay true to the heart of the story, but we'll just have to see when the show comes out. So I'm not one for making too many judgments until we actually see what the story and the TV show is actually going to be. So I don't want to say too much now. Are they going to stay close to Robert Jordan's vision and the heart of the stories, or will it be a complete disaster? Will they hold up to Robert Jordan's legacy, or will it be a disaster? I don't think it'll be that extreme. I think it could be somewhere in the middle. I just hope they stay close to the heart of the story. And I love discussing this stuff with you guys. I love getting into the conversations of what you guys think. I love fantasy personally. If this is your first time to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, guys. It really helps me out a lot. I love also just talking to the community. So leave a comment about anything. Let me know if you guys like Stormlight Archive or Brandon Sanderson. I have a lot of thoughts on Rhythm War. Might make a video, whatever. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be changes along the lines of like The Hobbit? Did you like The Hobbit? Did you hate it? How do you think how faithful they're going to adapt this? Or are you just going to wait till the show comes out? Then you'll make your judgments. I think that's really smart. I love talking about fantasy. I love talking about Stormlight Archive. I'm probably going to make some videos on those. Let me know if you guys like Stormlight Archive. Also, I'm thinking about doing a vlog for my writing in November, probably starting November 1st. And I'm doing it alongside of Camp NaNoWriMo. And I plan on having my book done by that time. I have all my goals and all of that set up to do that. Let me know if that's something that you guys would be interested in. I love writing, and I'm on this journey and doing YouTube and doing all this for my writing and stuff like that, and for the fantasy fan base. It's a fantasy book, obviously, so I might make a video on that and what kind of a premise of the book is, and my writing and how I go about my writing, and I'll do my vlog talking about all of that. Let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in as well. I love being back. I love talking about this sort of stuff. I love talking with you guys about it. Life is a little crazy right now, so infrequency of videos might be a thing for the next week or so. My friend's getting married. I'm still in the process of moving, and I got to catch up on a lot of my work because I do videography for my work, and I'm a little behind, so I'm starting to get caught up now, and I'm able to make more YouTube videos. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. The channel has been growing a lot, even in this week that I've not been very active. I've still gotten 10 subscribers and I haven't been too active. Thank you guys for all the support. I love what you do. I love this community. Just thank you guys so much for everything. I want to keep the conversation going, so be sure to comment, like I said, and I'll see you guys in the next one.